Today, I want to talk about the number one mistake that I see when people are going through OCD and anxiety recovery, or really anything in their life, whether it's creating a new business, trying to sustain a long-term relationship, trying to mend a fight with a friend, and that is taking acceptance tools to better your life and trying to force them. Because this is an understandable mechanism because we're filled in the social media world of, instant gratification, and we want things to work immediately, but nothing in life that really requires long-term discipline and consistency is going to come easy. Yes, there's a one shot off every once in a while, but that is so much rarer than what people actually have to do. So let's just jump right into it. The number one thing that I see that people do wrong. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below. If you're interested in our webinars and coaching services, please email info@OCD Recovery, and we will get back to you in a timely fashion. So when people come in, or I'm talking to someone in the WhatsApp groups, or the Facebook groups, or any other of our social media platforms, I hear and see people say words such as, I tried that, it didn't work for me. I did this, it didn't work. I tried acceptance, it didn't do anything for me. I did that exposure, didn't do anything, I still feel the same. I read the books, didn't do anything. Now, humans naturally, as many people have heard me say, are what I like to call information gatherers. And what that means is sitting on the couch, even when you're suffering with OCD and anxiety, reading material and just taking it in and not applying it isn't actually difficult. It's quite easy. It's comfortable. You're on the couch, maybe you're in your bed, maybe you're in an office chair. The applicability of taking theory and applying it is where actual change happens. It's like when you're doing your disputing homework. We tell people, when you're doing your disputing homework, it's not supposed to make you feel better in the moment. It's supposed to be able to give you these light bulb moments and small perspective shifts throughout the day when you're making changes in your behaviors. Understanding that is very key. So the number one thing to understand is there's no such thing as acceptance didn't work for me. Acceptance isn't a tool, it's a state of being. And the reason why people think you could snap acceptance into place is because of the way that people talk about acceptance. Just how the way people talk about stoicism. They say, the biggest thing is, I just was reading a book where someone made a comment literally 5 minutes ago, and I brushed right over it and thought that's a misconception of stoicism, is they said, I gave my girlfriend a response with a stoic-like demeanor. I was staring into space. That's not what stoicism is. Stoicism is not a lack of emotion. I'm not sure where this has come from. It's the prevailing myth in our world that in order to become stoic per se, that the person has to be this emotionless person. And that will be coming up in another video where I'm breaking down stoicism. So there's obviously two dogs fighting over there. You could hear that. It's not my dogs. When you're applying acceptance, okay, you have to ask yourself these questions. Am I trying to force acceptance? Usually the answer is yes. Do I think by forcing acceptance that OCD is going to go away? The answer is yes. We all do that. It's understandable. When you're suffering with OCD or an anxiety-based disorder, whether it's OCD, PTSD, GAD, panic disorder, BDD, the body dysmorphic disorder, the big five anxiety-based disorders, because the suffering can feel all-encompassing and so as real as it can get, it's very understandable why the person will force this application of acceptance. But there is no forcing. Now, we've all seen, I'm going to pull a leaf over here. We've all seen the rain meme. Maybe people, it's split in half. It's two stick figures in the rain. And one of them says, it's raining. My life is over. I'm going to be late for work. My tires are flat, all this stuff. And then there's another person where the rain is on them and they're just like this. It's raining. The reason why that's so applicable, but not the entire journey, is that is what acceptance means. Acceptance is a state of being. It's not a doing. It's experiencing your life as an observer. You're watching, you're learning, you're listening, you're feeling uncomfortable. All physical symptoms of anxiety, all feelings of jitteriness, all feelings of discomfort through anger and resentment, realizing that other people don't have to see life the way you see it, realizing that life doesn't owe you anything. There is no universal fairness and universal deservingness. These principles are easily broken down with child malignant cancers, catastrophes, genocides, World War I, World War II, Holocaust, I can go on and on, Genghis Khan, Rome, famines, Black Plague, swine flu, over and over and over and over and over again. So life is not fair. It never will be fair. We can prefer fairness. Experiencing life as it is the key. Most things 99.9 things are out of our control. Let me give you a great example of how I applied the tool of not being able to force acceptance. I love finance, I love politics, and I love macroeconomics. I read and study it every day. It brings me lots of joy. When you're reading economics, macroeconomics, fiscal policies on federal levels in different countries, your ability to control that is zero. All you can do is understand economic swings and adapt and adjust accordingly. From your investments, your financing, this is a good example. What I used to do was realize, oh, I can't believe the government is doing that. And then I realized, well, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. All I can do is educate myself on history, monetary, fiscal policy history, adapt to these swings, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. That's all I can do. But I have no control over what the federal government does. I have no control over what Spain's government does, the EU, the ECB, any of these other places, European Union, European Central Bank. I have no control. This is so key. Because when you come in with OCD and anxiety recovery, you show up, we all do it, and we say, this is what I want to do. I want to recover. I want no anxiety, no shame, no guilt. This is what I want. Help me do it. Sure, some will pause on that and make a meme. Get sent out in the WhatsApp groups. That's not how it works. OCD recovery is, when you get to a point where I'm at, where not many things sway you, and I obviously have plenty of a lifetime of work to do. I mean, I'm sure if I practice this for 20 years, I'll be much more rational than I am now. Is realizing that most of the things I understand, and I'm not going to be able to force them in the way I imagine. So I have to adapt and respond, make mistakes, analyze my mistakes, not in an OCD sense, but realize that I was doing something wrong. I was forcing this. I was forcing the tools. I was forcing exposures. I reread the books over and over and over and over again. These are all the mistakes that I see, and those are the number one biggest mistake. That's why this video is titled The Biggest Mistake I See, Forcing the Tools. Again, I can tell in the verbiage right away. When someone says to me, acceptance didn't work for me, they forced it, it was explained to them incorrectly, or they don't understand it. And that's a combination of all three at many times. You know, when people go in, they say stuff like, radical acceptance. It's oxymoron. There's no such thing as radical acceptance. You can't force acceptance in the moment. You can attempt to with some degree of improvement, but you're not just going to be able to from, 10 o'clock a.m., then something serious happens at 10:12 a.m., and then 10:14 a.m. after it happens. You're not going to force this level of acceptance and then it not bother you. That's not how it works. And because we have so much of this instant gratification with acceptance, we think that's how it works, and we think that's how we get an answer now. In reality, we need the opposite. We want to learn to sit with discomfort. We don't need the answer right away. We could sit with the feelings of not needing to check. All of those things mixed together are what bring us to OCD and anxiety recovery. And OCD and anxiety recovery happens, many people have heard me say this, when you don't need OCD and anxiety recovery, when you don't need the things that you desire and needing and demanding. I need this. It must be like this. It should be like this. They must respect me. I should be better now. I've been working on this for a year. Why don't I feel better? I'm such a moron for not understanding this. The berating, the self-downing, the irrational belief systems that all stem from the books on the reading list are the most powerful tools that you can learn and slowly apply as you go throughout your journey. It's like a drip. It's like an IV drip. Doop, doop. But what we want is, we want the IV bag cut open and we want all of it right now. Give it to me. I want all the knowledge. It just doesn't work like that. It's never going to work like that. So understanding those principles were so important for me. Okay? Recap. What are the sentences? I tried that. It didn't work for me. I did that exposure, and exposures can definitely become compulsive. They're important, sure, sometimes more than others, contamination OCD, magical thinking, outward ritual behaviors, but they're not needed for everything. And there are means to their end. They can only bring you so far. I did that exposure, didn't work for me. I read the books, it didn't do anything. Most people read books and never apply it. They never apply the tools from a book, because applying the tools behaviorally is one of the hardest things you could do. So again, the number one biggest mistake that people make, that I see all of the time, is forcing acceptance, thinking it can snap into place like a lock and key, thinking you can force exposures on your way to freedom, and thinking that you can force rumination to come down. A lot of rumination, intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges are primarily automatic. Yes, you can stop engaging to a degree, but it's going to feel so automatic, like a lasso's wrapped around you, pulling you back in like you're being pushed off the plank into the pit of sharks. It's because the fear is high. It is supposed to feel that real. If it didn't feel that real, it wouldn't be a disorder. You would go, this isn't a big deal, and you go on your way. Has to feel as real as it can get. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. If you did enjoy it, if not, let me know. Let me know. Always comment down below. Let me know if you've made this mistake. Let me know if you hadn't had an epiphany. You're like, oh, wow, I guess I have been doing that wrong. I speak to this with people all the time in the one-to-one coaching. The weekly webinars, we have webinars every single Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. UK time. Sometimes if we have like a ROCD part 1 and 2, we'll do like a Tuesday and a Friday. But always on Tuesdays, we have 4 minimum a month. We do questions and answers. They're great. Again, info@ocdrecovery.com. Thank you for watching and have a great day.